Okay, so I'm just going to go through the module and just explain along the way. I know there's probably some questions about this assignment, the annotated bibliography. So this is a big one. And I hope that you watched my video here that I made. I just made this last week, and it's just, you know, kind of trying to explain this. I was trying to you know, do what I would do in class to introduce a new assignment. We're really starting from just kind of the bottom here, you know, starting from scratch on this assignment, kind of a brand new topic, brand new, you know, a kind of assignment as well. The due dates are all right here. And so the plan is that in total for your annotated bibliography, you need to do 6 articles. So I would expect that most people are for at least for this annotated bibliography, you're not going to do any more than 6. There's no reason to. Although for your research paper, once you get started working on your research paper, then it might be necessary to look for, you know, 1 or 2 more articles, especially if you're looking for a certain answer to a question or something really specific that you haven't, you know, found, maybe a statistic or some, you know, expert that's agreeing with this idea or something, and you don't have it in your articles that you have. But if you do that and you include it in your research paper, then you do not need to go back to the annotated bibliography and redo that, okay? So the idea is that you're gonna pick one topic, your social justice topic, whatever that topic is, and then for the annotated bibliography, you're gonna be looking for these 6 articles. Hopefully, all of those 6 articles will be articles that you can use for your research paper. So when you do get started on your research paper, you have, you know, you really have a lot of background into the topic, so you can make a really informed decision about what your thesis statement is going to be, what your arguments are going to be. The research paper, when we get to it, is kind of like a problem solution paper, and I do have it broken down into 3 sections. So I don't want to get into that yet, but when we get there, it's kind of like each section is about 2 to 3 pages. So when you put them all together, then that makes the 8 pages. And you know, there's very specific things that I'm going to tell you to write about for section 1, section 2, and section 3. So getting to that 8 pages is not usually a problem. So anyway, that's the idea, is that for this week, you are basically deciding what your topic is and then finding 1 article. And then for next week, you're going to keep looking for your articles, hopefully find 5 more, and then turn in everything, the entire annotated bibliography, by next Thursday. So that's 9 days from now? Yeah, 9 days from now. Okay, and then the annotated bibliography, so this part right here, the 6 articles, you will have a grade on that. And then that is worth 10% of your final grade. But the research paper, that's our big assignment. That is worth 30%. So altogether, all of this stuff is worth almost half of your grade. It's a little bit intimidating, I realize that, but it's, you know, really, I'm going to break it down for you, and you won't have any problem completing any of the small pieces of it. But it's really important that you keep up with all of those smaller assignments, and that you don't fall too far behind, because this is the point in the semester where everything starts getting real serious in all of your classes. You probably just had midterms. You're probably getting ready for another test in your other classes, and papers due, and things just start piling up. And if you fall behind, it's really, really hard to catch up. But more importantly, it makes it really hard to get a good grade if you are, you know, doing 2 weeks worth of work in like 1 day. trying to fit it all in. So try to avoid that, and try to, as we go, try to keep up with these assignments and really pace yourself. There's a lot of thinking that's involved in these assignments besides actually just sitting down and reading and writing. So you do have to kind of sometimes take breaks, just like step away, think about what you're going to write instead, or how you're going to, address a certain issue, and then come back, and then it becomes more clear. That's kind of a good strategy when you get stuck. So, but if you don't give yourself enough time, then that is not possible. So please try to do that. Okay, so for the topics, there's a LibGuide here, and LibGuide is kind of the name of, what do you call this? I guess it's like a tool, like an internet tool, and our librarians use it all the time. I had one of the librarians a few semesters ago make this for my class. So I have everything here that you need to, figure out what the annotated bibliography is, what the information about how to do it is, but then also about topics, about social justice. So a couple of quotes here, and then this is an article here, and I'm asking you later on in the module to read this article. So I'm not going to open it up right now, but it's also linked here. And then you can just click through to, okay, so here's a glossary, and the glossary is just some terms that you're probably going to come across. So if you just, you don't have to memorize these, there's no test or anything on them, but just familiarize yourself with these terms. And you can always come back here if, you need a good definition of these. So sometimes, they use these kind of terms like, oppression and prejudice all the time. But sometimes, you have like maybe a vague sense of what it means, but sometimes they're referring to something real specific. So just a good idea to check on that. Okay, this is probably the most important page, and that's with the topics. So this is not every single social justice topic. And in fact, I purposely left off a really big one, and I do want to discourage you from writing about it. And that's anything that has to do with environmental justice. So the environment, so global warming, pollution, those can be considered social justice topics, especially when you are talking about how, global warming or environmental issues, pollution, things like, the drinking water in Flint, Michigan, for example. So issues like that affect specific communities, and especially communities of color or lower socioeconomic communities. But it's very difficult to write about those topics for a couple of reasons. For one, when you start to do research and start to, read about like the environment and pollution and all that, then the articles that you're going to find kind of are about the science, and they tend to be kind of technical. And so it's kind of hard to bring that back to social justice. It's not impossible, but it's just difficult to do that. And then also some of those articles can be really, really technical and science-based. And unless you are a scientist, it's really hard to understand them and write about them. And even if you can, I am not a scientist. And so will be really hard to write for me, a non-scientist, to understand. So again, I discourage you from writing on that topic, but if you really, really want to, you can make it work. Just double check with me or to have a conversation with me, and we can figure it out. And then if there's any other topics that you are just, that just jump to your mind that you really want to talk about, something that maybe is personal for you, something happened to you or a family member, or you just, care about this topic, I'm sure it's probably fine, but double check with me. just to make sure that it fits and that it's kind of appropriately specific. So that's one of the problems that you might have when you're choosing a topic, is that the topic might be too general. And so when you start to do your research, it's kind of overwhelming because you're just looking at like something that you could write like several books about, not just one book. And you have to try to, condense all this into an 8-page research paper. It could be that, or it could be something that's so specific and it's almost like there's not enough to write about. So you kind of have to, thread the needle there with a topic like that. So just double check with me. But if any of these topics, look interesting to you, then what you're going to do, and I do ask you to, write about a couple of these topics later on, but when you click on each one, it takes you to, oh, you got to log in. Let's see if it comes up here. And yeah, if you are, obviously no one's on campus right now. If you were on campus, I believe every computer on campus would automatically take you there. But since you're off campus, you have to just log in for your credentials. So there's one article here for each of these topics. And so that is, I'll talk about this in a few minutes, but it's possible for you to use this article for your annotated bibliography entry, the one article summary that you have to do this week. So you can think about that. If that article is not good, or if you ended up finding better articles, then by all means, whichever article you want to use. Okay, let's see. Oh, the format of it. Okay, so this is not actually really that good. Okay, let's skip through that because I want to show you a better example. I think I'll change that one out. Okay, so first of all, this is probably the most worthwhile thing and the thing that is going to end up saving you the most time with this annotated bibliography and research paper. And I just cannot emphasize this enough. For anyone who has not turned this in, and it's due tonight, right? Yeah. I'm going to start bugging you and telling you to, make sure that you do this, similar to having a conference with me about this. Because working with a librarian or talking to a librarian, I mean, they literally have a master's degree in these databases. They know all the secrets, they know all the tricks. It's just super quick. I mean, so many times, I mean, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I did research papers when I was in college. It was a different time. We didn't really have the internet back then, but I know how to do that stuff kind of. And I've been teaching English for a long time and helping students. But a lot of times I get stuck. I'm looking for something. I get stuck. I'm spending like a long time looking for it. And then I finally just go, oh, you know what? I'm just going to email this one librarian that I work with a lot. And I usually give her some, like I'm looking for like 5 articles on this thing or whatever, because, I think maybe she's going to, not be able to come up with all of them. And within like an hour, she responds back to me and she has exactly what I'm looking for, the perfect articles, just, 100%. It's like so easy for them. So take advantage of that. Okay. And then also, the other thing that I wanted to show you about this is that for your future assignments in future classes, so not only for this class, but remember this stuff because this is gonna, be useful for you all through your college career. And even, if you go to 4-year Fresno State, they have all of the same stuff there, the same kind of databases, same kind of librarian help. So this is hopefully showing you how to do this, not only for this assignment, but for your entire college career. Okay, so 2 different choices that you have. And I will tell you that choice number 2 is probably the best one, especially for this assignment that you need. So what happens here is you're going to meet with a librarian one-on-one. And I say the meetings are about 45 minutes. That has been my experience when students have done it on campus. So, you know, normally what happens is you make an appointment like for 10 o'clock on Wednesday, and then you just walk into the library, you go and sit at, you know, with the librarian at her desk, and she kind of walks you through it, and then you end up with some articles. Now you'll be on Zoom. So I don't know, the 45 minutes might actually be shorter. I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know. But you'll email her, or you'll sign up for an appointment. She'll email you, and then you'll email her back. When you email her back, she's going to ask you, you know, what is your paper about? What is your topic about? And you just have to give her a little bit of information about that. You know, be as specific as you possibly can here, because she will prepare. And when you meet with her, she will have, although she'll be talking to you and she'll walk you through the steps of how to find it, but she'll already have the articles set up and ready to go. So what will take a normal person like us, you know, hours and hours, maybe like days and days to find these articles, you know, this 45-minute meeting, you're going to have everything that you need. Okay. So I really encourage you to do that. Now, the problem with this though is that you can't wait until the last minute. So they do need like 48 hours to set up the appointment. So make those appointments as soon as possible, if this is the choice that you're going to go with. And then, you know, just try to meet with them as soon as you possibly can, because it does take, you know, it does take a couple of days. And then probably right now they're not super duper busy at the library, so they should be able to accommodate you pretty quickly. I would expect them to be way more busy at the end of the semester when everybody's trying to get their last minute papers done, but should be okay right now. But let me know if you have any problems with that. And then if that is not something that you want to do, or you feel like you need, there's another choice, and that is one of the library webinars. Okay, so here are the different webinars, and I did mention, I have a little video, I did mention don't do the Google one, okay, because I am going to have you use your articles from the databases. And so basically what these databases are these huge repositories that link to millions and millions of different publications, articles, newspapers, blogs, you know, all this stuff. And they're all like scholarly. They're all written for an academic audience. So they're all going to be perfect. You know, when you're searching on Google, that's not the case, right? You're going to get all kinds of things. So it's not that you can't use Google for research, but that's sort of what I'll have you do when you're finishing up your research paper and you're trying to find, like, you know, just like a little bit more information, then that's the time to use Google. But right now you need 6 database articles, okay? And so EBSCOhost is probably the biggest one, or the biggest one that we have access to, and it has articles on every topic that you can possibly imagine that you would need for college. So it's a really good one. So these webinars, they do take, I think they say they take about 45 minutes to an hour for each one. And you're gonna be meeting on Zoom, and the library, it's gonna be like this. The librarian is gonna be, you know, meeting with a group of students, talking you through, and I don't know how many will be in each webinar. I'll be interested to know that. You guys can tell me. But she's going to just walk you through. So you'll be at your computer. You're going to be, you know, watching her go through it. And then you can also ask her questions. So if you have in your mind, you know, that you're looking for a certain topic, I think that she should be able to direct you, especially if there's not too many people in the webinar. She should be able to direct you to finding, you know, specific articles, but for sure they'll give you some kind of background so that you're kind of more familiar with the databases, and you sort of learn how to use the databases so you can use them in the future. So that's for EBSCOhost. And then opposing viewpoints is a smaller database, but it has more topics that are kind of like controversial. So controversial meaning like there's a debate about them. There's a pro side and a con side or anti side, and then they give you both articles. Or they have a way that you can find like the pro and then the con article. And so, and it's organized differently. So decide which one that you want to do. And I'm trying to see here. It doesn't look like any of them would be overlapping with any of our class meetings, but we'll just go ahead and register there. And then I think that's it. Oh yeah, and then I have this little video that just basically says what I just said. So what I want you to do for this, it's very easy, okay? So just sign up, and all you're gonna do is you can just give me one sentence, okay? Just tell me what you signed up for and when, okay? And that's it. So again, if you don't do this, I'm going to be bugging you and asking you to do it. Okay. Now this is the article that I was showing you earlier that's on that Social Justice LibGuide. So it links here, and I'm just asking you a few questions. Okay, so just scan through the article and you can answer the questions. You don't have to write the answer or the questions, just tell me the answer. For summary writing, so for the annotated bibliography, basically what you're doing is you're looking at each article, and at the top, you're preparing that works cited entry, okay? When you're using databases, it's really simple to do. All you have to do is click one button. Usually it's a cite, and then you click that, make sure that it's on MLA, copy, and then you can just paste it right into your essay. So that's the top part. And then the bottom part is a summary and then a really, really short response. So the summaries should not be too long. They should be just like a paragraph that should be no more than a half a page. So sometimes you're going to have articles that are really, really long. Try to really summarize them down to just like, you know, maybe 5, 6, 7 sentences is what you kind of want to aim for. And just so that you're giving the overview of the article. So the purpose of this is so that you can get a really broad overview of what the topic is all about, okay? So when you're doing your summaries, not really looking for details, right? You're looking for just like the main idea, what is this about, kind of to help remind yourself about, you know, because you're reading 6 articles on the same topic. So of course you're going to forget, you know, what's in each one. And so when you do your research paper, you don't have to go back and read through every single one or skim through every single one. You've got this kind of log there that reminds you of each one. And then at the end, you can write a couple of sentences. You can write a sentence that basically says how you're going to use it in your essay. So you could say something like, you know, this has a background information about such and such thing or topic or court case even, or this is evidence for one argument, or this is part of the solution to this problem, you know, whatever kind of information is there. And then one sentence at the very end where you just kind of respond to it. You know, what do you think? What is your opinion? And the purpose of that is so that you can really kind of like engage with it, so that you're actively reading and you are thinking deeply about these articles, so that again, later when you do your research paper, it's going to be much, much easier. Okay. So all I've got here, because I know that, you know, you all have been through classes where they've taught you how to summarize, and summarizing is not an easy thing to do. is something that you can, teachers can talk about it till they're blue in the face. You can read these how to summarize articles forever and ever. You really just need to get in and practice, okay? And so what I'm just gonna have you do on this is just reading this and then just answer these questions, okay? So very simple, just start thinking about summarizing. When you turn in your annotated bibliography, the first article, you're going to be turning in your summary, and you're also going to be turning in the article that you summarized. So I'm going to be looking at that article to make sure that you got the facts right. So that's another reason why it's good idea to just do one single one. So make sure that you're summarizing correctly, besides getting the format right for the annotated bibliography. Okay, and then we're gonna meet on Thursday. Okay, so for research questions, and this I need to put the little thing for English 205, because this is a discussion, so this will count towards your English 205 grade. So I do have a little video that's showing you what to do, but basically this is about research questions. And so I have some information about how to make research questions here and some sample research questions. But basically what the research questions do is, so you have your topic, and you may even kind of narrow down your topic. But then as you're starting to do research, you need to formulate these questions so that you know what information to look for. If you don't have these really specific research questions that are kind of like narrowly defined and that you're, that are going to help guide you, then when you gather all of your articles up, even though they may be on the same general topic, it might be really difficult to, use them all and put them all together into a research paper. And then you might end up having to, look for other articles, many more articles, instead of maybe just like one or two. So formulating good research questions, well, for one, when you meet with the librarian, they're probably going to ask you about this or talk about this. So that will be helpful for that. But also it will help to guide you so that when you do your research paper, it's going to be much more manageable, okay? So what I want you to do here, and this is exactly what I would be doing in class if we were meeting in class, I would make you choose 2 topics to write about, okay? Even right now, I know most of you who are thinking about it, when you look at the topics page, so here's the topics page that we were looking at before, one of them pops out at you and you're just like, okay, yeah, that's the one I want to write about. But what I want you to do is pick one more, okay? So the reason, couple reasons. One is that it may seem right now like you want you want that topic, but once you start getting into it, then you start realizing, this is like going to be too messy, or it's not exactly what I thought, or it's just not really interesting me the way that I thought it was going to, and so you kind of have your backup. But the other reason is that you're writing about another topic might help one of your classmates to think about that topic in a different way, or realize that they're interested in it because they didn't consider this other angle of this topic. So it's really helpful for just generating ideas as well. So that's what I want you to do. You're going to choose 2 topics. So one topic, you're just going to summarize, explain it in 1 to 3 sentences. Just what is it? Okay. And then why did you choose it? Just 1 single sentence, okay? And then 1 research question, okay? So what do you want to know about it? And again, there are some steps to developing the research questions and some sample, unclear and then clear right here. So, and then you're going to do that with 2 topics. And then to respond, just pick any 2 of your classmates And you don't have to respond to both of their topics, just pick one, especially if like it's one that you're kind of leaning towards. And even though you wrote the same research question in your original post, just go ahead and post it again, just so, you know, it's easier for everybody to see that way. Okay. And then this is the assignment where you're going to turn in, oh, I should be looking at this from the student view, but okay. So this is what you're going to be turning in for the first entry for the annotated bibliography. And it should look like this. So up at the top, you know, when you look at your whole page, when you turn the entire thing in, you're going to have your name, the class, my name, the date, all of that stuff is going to be the same. And then you're going to have annotated bibliography, that will be your title. And then you're just going to start listing them. So you're going to have 6 altogether in the final draft. So this is going to be 1. And then you're just, for this assignment here, you're just turning in 1, but the top of it is where you put the works cited information, and then you're going to skip an extra space in between, and then you're going to put your summary here, and towards the end you're going to put that 1 or 2 sentences where you respond to it, or you put your opinion about it. Okay, so notice a couple of things. Notice the margin here. So we've got this hanging indent, and then this is pushed over so that it is all lined up like this. So basically your annotated bibliography is going to be, have 6 of those little tabs that stick out, and then everything else is just going to be under it like that. And then when you turn in your final, they'll be in alphabetical order by this. So this would be under B. Okay. And then, oh, and then also make sure that you also give me either the link or the actual file of the article. So if you're using, you know, well, yeah, anything that you have access to, I have access to also on the library. So you could just give me the link. Maybe you can put it in the comment, or let's see. Oh no, I just said file upload. Oh, I'll change that. So that you can just, yeah, okay. So you can use both, or you can just make it a comment. Either way, I'll be able to see it. So that's what I want. I want both so that I can check and just make sure that you're doing the summary correctly, and especially that, you know, you're summarizing the right way. Okay. Any questions about any of that stuff right now?
I do have a question on the bottom portion of the annotation. Can you explain that again?
Sure. Let's see. Let me go back to where I actually, okay, yeah, this is a better, has a lot more information. So this is just in that lib guide, and it's at the very bottom, preparing the annotated bibliography. Here's a little video, 3 minutes that this guy's talking about it. So I really like this part right here because it has everything that kind of broken down. So this is the citation, and then here is the summary part, and then they call this the usefulness statement. If you can't have this usefulness statement, that's okay. This one's kind of optional, but you definitely need to have this oh my gosh, however you say that, statement, basically your opinion. So you're putting, let's see, what does she say? This article and anecdotal, she provides a great introduction to the negative aspects of smartphone culture, the freedom she has from the compulsion to constantly check. So basically, this student is basically saying, like, this is a good introduction to the negative aspects. So kind of like, you know, if I'm talking about the negative aspects of smartphone culture, then this is the article that I want to go to find the backup for it or the evidence for it. And then she touches on larger issues like social status, digital divide, consumer, which all warrant further investigations from more research-based sources. So just, you know, an opinion, okay? And it could be really about anything, just your reaction to it. You know, do you agree with it? Do you disagree? You know, do you think it's important? Is this, you know, bogus argument, or does this make sense? You know, what do you think about this information? So there's not really one single way to do that, but just so that you have sort of a little bit, one or two sentences at the end that can help you to kind of decide what you're going to do with the article when it's time to do your research paper. So does that help?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. What else? What are some other questions that you have? This is about how to avoid plagiarism. Just be really careful with this. What will happen is, and I haven't talked a whole lot about this, but with turnitin.com, there are some issues with it, and that is that you know, it's looking for anything that is similar in any other essays. When you turned in your essay number 1 and your essay number 2, there is going to be some overlap, especially phrases that will come up just because, you know, a lot of students, including, you know, for the last couple years, students in my class have written, for example, about, you know, saying that education is a fundamental right or not. So some of those phrases will show up as kind of like, you know, they're from another source. But if the percentage is like 1%, 2%, 3%, I see that a lot. That is not a problem, okay? That's just like a coincidence. It's just like, you know, a few little phrases here and there that, you know, there's really kind of like the easiest way to say them. And then if you're quoting something, so if you have something in quotation marks, then that will also come up because you've quoted it exactly from the article that you took or the website that you saw. So there's going to be a certain amount that will come up and it will say that it's like copied or from another source. As long as that is under like 13, 14%, 11, 12, I've heard teachers talking about that. That's okay. So the color coding system on Turnitin.com is, if you have, let me see if I can remember this. If you have 0%, it looks blue. That's almost bad, because if you have 0%, it means that you don't have any phrases that are the same as anybody else's essay. It probably means you have a lot of grammar mistakes. Not necessarily, but it could mean that. Green is sort of that in between, like 1 to 2% up to, I think, like 12 or 13%. So green is like what teachers typically look for, and they want to see green. When you start to get into yellow, then that's sort of in the middle. And so most teachers will that will catch their attention, and they'll click into it and they'll look at it more carefully. Now, just because it's in the yellow doesn't mean that you have plagiarized, okay? Because you could just have like a lot of quotes, or you know, you have a lot of set phrases that are similar, and it's more of what, once you have that, when you go in there, what would be a red flag for a teacher is you have one source that a lot has been taken from, and then maybe some other sources where it's like 1%. So be careful about that, okay? You really want to, you know, stay away from that. Some teachers, and I have not necessarily English teachers, you know, English teachers are here with you in the trenches. You know, we know how hard it is to write research papers and walking you through it. But some teachers in some other areas, they are not understanding about this at all. And if you have anything, they'll just like, you know, automatic F, just F. They may even turn you into like college discipline person who may contact you, possibly, you know, probably not. I don't know if I've ever heard of any cases of a student doing it just one time getting expelled, but it is possible. And it depends on, you know, sort of how much the teacher wants to make a fuss about it, I guess. So you just got to be really, really careful with this. Just make sure that anytime you're using any sentences, you know, that you're aware of it and that you're using quotation marks. It's really, I know it's hard to do this when you're trying to paraphrase, but it really is a good idea to start writing without any of the articles. So first you read all the articles and then you put them away. And then you try to write as much as you can. And then the articles are like away, like you look at them a different day. Okay, so they're not even in your head, and, or you don't even have access to them. And then trying to write. And then once you get all of your arguments down, you get everything down, then you can go back to those sources and kind of double check, okay, and pull in your quotes at that time. So that's a bit kind of a better strategy. I know a lot of students, like, you know, they don't know how, you know, they don't know what they're going to say. So they're trying to sort of take ideas from these articles and paraphrase them. And sometimes that is actually more work than just, you know, trying to write in your own words. So just be careful about that, okay? Let's see. Oh yeah, look at this. Return to your notes later. Okay. Another thing too, and if you meet with a librarian, you shouldn't have this problem because they will, they should be able to let you or give you articles that are appropriate, that you can you know, handle, that aren't too difficult. But when you are looking for articles on your own, sometimes some of those articles can be like monsters, like, you know, like a 40-page article. I would say stay away from anything like that. It's going to be too detailed and probably too technical to really understand the overall, you know, of it. Try to stay with articles that are like maybe 3 pages max. 1 page is better if you can find a short article. A lot of those articles have what's called an abstract at the top of them. And an abstract is sort of a summary, not exactly a summary, but it's sort of a summary. And so definitely you want to read that, because that will give you an idea of what is in the article, but it's not the only thing that you have to read. So you do have to go into the actual article. So if, you know, typically long articles will have abstracts. So if you see one that has an abstract, just, you know, I don't know, take a second look at it. You're not going to have problem finding enough articles. What you're going to have a problem with is narrowing down your topic and so that all your articles are kind of within this one sort of narrow topic that's going to be much easier to write about than you know, the overall topic, pulling in a lot of different things. So for example, let's see, oh my gosh, race relations. I mean, racism. I mean, that is huge, right? There's like several books that we need to write about this. So what you should do is choose a kind of a specific topic within racism. So for example, you know, racism against African Americans, or racism against immigrants, or, you know, the history of racism in the United States. So going back and looking at, you know, what happened in the 1950s and what happened in the early 1900s, that kind of thing. So you might not know how you're going to narrow your topic right now. Those research questions are what are going to help you. Okay, so when you start to get into thinking about your topic and start to get into you know, thinking about what you don't know, what you want to know, what you're looking for, that is how you're going to find a more narrow topic. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.